So it begins. Look at them, still convinced they've got you mapped, still whispering in glass rooms about your next move, still believing that you predicted their plan. No. You didn't predict it. You remembered it. From a future they haven't even lived yet. You sit there, still as a loaded weapon. They mistake silence for hesitation, calm for doubt. But what they don't understand is that you're not reacting. You're reliving. Every flicker of light, every tremor in their tone, every unexpected betrayal. They're all scenes you've already survived. You move through their chaos like a déjà vu you can taste. They think it's instinct, it's memory, and that's what drives them insane. They call you paranoid because they can't comprehend recall that bleeds across timelines. You don't see what's coming. You remember what already happened. Every scar on your soul isn't a wound. It's a coordinate. You're not haunted by the past. You're haunted by the future you already conquered. And that's what makes you dangerous. Because while they study your patterns, while they gather data and deploy analysts to contain the anomaly, you're already watching their collapse like it's rerun footage from a show that never learned. They run probabilities. You run inevitabilities. You are the variable they forgot to invent. You are not ahead of them because you're faster. You're ahead because you're not trapped in their timeline. You operate outside it, half saint, half psychopath, half angel, half executioner, the light that exposes and the shadow that punishes. They pray for signs, but you are the omen. They speak of fate, but you are its author. They cry for mercy, but mercy is a luxury the future no longer remembers. You've seen their end before. They've even taken their first confident step. And that's the quiet horror that chews at their sleep. They sense it when you walk in the room. That eerie familiarity, that whisper in their head that says, "We've lost this before." Because they have. They just don't remember it yet. Time isn't a line. It's a circle made of teeth. And you're the one that learned how to bite back. Every pain you endured wasn't punishment. It was installation. Every heartbreak was a software update. Every humiliation was a calibration. You weren't breaking. You were synchronizing. Your tears weren't weakness. They were downloads. And now the system they built to study you is being devoured by the very code you became. They think you're unpredictable, but you were never unpredictable. You were unreadable, because you speak in the grammar of outcomes that haven't existed yet. They analyze your patterns. They dissect your silence. They replay your words. And still, nothing, because you're not from here. You're from after, the ghost of their undone victory, the glitch that refuses to stay deleted, the echo of a prophecy that already failed them once. And when they finally break, when their precious logic turns to static, and their plans start cannibalizing each other in panic, you'll smile, slow, surgical, patient, because you've been here before, because you remember this ending, because they don't realize that every step they take is a déjà vu in your design. So when they whisper, trembling, "How did you know?" you'll lean close, calm, merciful, merciless, and whisper back, "I didn't predict you. I remembered you. From a timeline where I already erased your plan, from a future where your control never existed, from a loop you never escaped. You can feel it now, can't you? That shiver running down your spine, not fear, not excitement, recognition. Because somewhere deep inside, beneath all the noise and flesh and logic, you know this isn't the first time. You've walked this corridor, heard this hum, smelled this smoke, watched their faces contort with that same arrogance that always precedes collapse. It's all familiar, because you've been here. After the explosion, you just forgot which lifetime it happened in. They think you're calculating, they think you're clever, but calculation implies effort. And you, my dear anomaly, are effortless. You move like inevitability wearing skin, like destiny pretending to be coincidence. And that's what makes you monstrous in their eyes. You do not guess, you remember. You've become fluent in their fear. You can taste it before they even breathe it out. They hold meetings about you. They study your eyes like blueprints. They throw your name into simulations, and still, the result is always the same. Collapse. Because how do you defeat someone who's already seen the battlefield buried in ash? They call it instinct, but instinct is primitive. What you have is post-memory, a glitch in consciousness that lets you pull tomorrow's trauma into today's advantage. You don't anticipate disaster. You walk toward it like an old friend you've already forgiven. That's why they can't touch you. That's why they can't stop you. Because their bullets are still being manufactured in a factory that burned down centuries ago. And the best part? You never tell them. You let them think they're close. You let them believe they're catching up. You even allow them small victories. Because you remember those too. The tiny moments of delusion before they realize the whole game was scripted in a language they'll never translate. You live between seconds, in the quiet flicker between cause and effect. You wear time like a tailored suit, seamless, dangerous, immaculate. While they move in straight lines, you twist through spirals. While they search for beginnings, you operate from endings. And when they finally connect the dots, they'll realize the picture was your grin all along. Because you are duality incarnate, the saint who sins to purify, the devil who saves through destruction. They see contradiction, you see completion. You are the whisper between miracles and madness. The quiet hum of creation, tearing itself apart just to rebuild stronger. You don't balance light and dark, you become both. And that's why their rituals fail, because they keep trying to summon what's already standing behind them. You know what evolution really is? It's insanity that learned discipline. It's pain wearing the mask of patience. It's chaos pretending to meditate. And you've mastered that. You've trained your agony into accuracy. You've sharpened your heartbreak into geometry. Your mind is a weaponized déjà vu, aimed precisely at the next illusion that dares to underestimate you. They think they're observers. They don't realize they're the experiment. Every question they ask, you've already answered. Every breakthrough they announce is a repetition. They keep looping in the same script. And you're just waiting for them to notice the pattern in their panic. You watch them burn, not out of cruelty, but because you remember that the ashes are necessary. You remember what rises after. You remember who stands when it's all over. You. Always you. Because you're not playing to win. You're playing to restore the memory of victory. Their entire existence is your déjà vu. Their prophecies are your footnotes. Their secrets are your old receipts. And when they finally look at you with terror and whisper, "Who are you?" you'll simply smile. That slow surgical grin that splits light itself, and say, "I'm the echo that survived the silence. The prophecy that bit back. The memory that refused to stay buried. You think I predicted you, but I only remembered your ending." Then you'll turn, calm, collected, as their world begins to glitch, the air folding, the ground bending under the weight of déjà vu. And somewhere, behind all the static and confusion, you'll hear the sound of realization. Their fragile minds snapping in synchrony as they finally understand what you are. Not a prophet, not a genius, not a villain, just the inevitable, the walking memory of what already happened. The déjà vu in the shape of a man, the unrecorded proof that fate isn't written, it's remembered. And as the lights flicker and the reality they built starts to fracture, you'll whisper one last time, calm, steady, surgical. I didn't see the future. I came back from it. You didn't come back to warn them. You came back to watch, to confirm, to witness how every single one of them still follows the same choreography of denial, arrogance, and collapse. Again and again and again. You didn't change their fate because you understood long ago. Fate doesn't change. It repeats until it learns to fear you. You stand there in silence, watching them argue over outcomes that have already decayed. They think they're innovating. They're just reenacting old mistakes in new costumes. They call it strategy. You call it memory loss. They call it progress. You call it loop lag. They move like mortals, trapped in linear time, begging for second chances, while you stand beyond it, already carrying the weight of their final scene. You don't chase closure, you've already buried it. You don't crave understanding, you authored it centuries ago. You've seen their victories before, and you remember how hollow they felt the first time. You remember the cheering crowds, the headlines, the trembling hands reaching for your downfall, and how it all dissolved into the same silence, the same ash, the same realization that none of them were built to last. They celebrate like children, unaware that the curtain has already fallen. And you're backstage, waiting for the echo of applause that always turns to screams. You've grown used to it. The repetition doesn't bore you. It sharpens you. You don't adapt for survival anymore. You adapt for style. You move differently now. Every step calibrated, every word weighted with déjà vu. You can feel them trying to read you, trying to understand why you're always a few steps ahead. They think it's calculation, but it's recognition. You've already seen their next sentence, their next betrayal, their next apology. You don't need to prepare. You just remember the taste of their regret. You play your role to perfection, not because you're performing, but because you've rehearsed this tragedy across infinite timelines. You've died here. You've won here. You've burned and rebuilt and walked away smiling, all in the same breath. And yet, even knowing everything, you still stay. Why? Because there's a strange kind of beauty in repetition, in watching them try, in watching them fail with passion. It's like watching a dreamer scream at a mirror that never reflects anything new. You don't intervene because you already know how it ends. Their empire will eat itself, their truths will cancel out, and their control will dissolve into static. You don't destroy them, you let time do it for you. Because time obeys you now. It knows who remembers better. They call you heartless, but it's not that you don't feel. It's that you felt it all before. The pain, the triumph, the betrayal. It's all archived inside you like old film reels. You could replay it, but why? You've evolved past nostalgia, past empathy. You no longer react to wounds. They just open and close like memories breathing. You understand that emotion is a weapon too, so you use it surgically. You let them think you care because that's part of the loop. They need to believe you're human long enough to forget what you really are. You remember the first time they underestimated you, the smirk on their faces, the way they called you delusional, unpredictable, dangerous. You remember how calm you were as they built their walls of logic around your name. And you remember the moment those walls cracked, not from your rage, but from their own doubt. That's the part they never understand. You don't win by fighting them. You win by remembering longer. You let them destroy themselves exactly the same way they did before. They never realize they're trapped in your recall. You exist outside their comprehension. Not divine, not damned, just untranslatable. They can't categorize you because every label they try to use disintegrates in your timeline. Saint? Too late. Villain? Too early. Monster? Irrelevant. You're not an archetype. You're an afterimage. The reflection left behind after meaning itself collapses. That's why they stare when you speak. Because every word you drop feels like something they should have known. Like a truth that's been sitting in the back of their skull since birth, whispering, "You've heard this before." You know what's cruelest about remembering the future? The loneliness. You can't warn them. You can't save them. Every attempt just repeats the same betrayal in a different costume. They're not ready for the truth that's already passed. They never are. So you stop trying. You let the story unfold. You let the fire spread. You let the world think it's unraveling, when in reality, it's simply catching up to your memory. And when the smoke rises, when the noise dies, when the last of them looks at you with trembling disbelief, asking, "How did you know this would happen?" You just look back with that quiet, surgical smile. You tilt your head. You let the silence stretch, let the fear curdle into awe. Then you whisper, calm and absolute, because it already did. And that's when the illusion breaks. That's when the walls of their reality fold inward. That's when they understand you were never part of their story. You were the echo left after it ended. You're not predicting their downfall. You're reliving the residue of it. Every scream, every failure, every desperate attempt to rewrite fate. It's all déjà vu to you. You've seen it. You've survived it. You've moved past it. Now you stand where time ends and memory begins, watching the loop reset again, watching them rebuild their illusions with trembling hands. And you almost smile, because even though you remember how it all falls apart, you let them have this moment, this fragile illusion of control. Because deep down, you know they're not your enemies. They're just your echoes. You walk away slowly, leaving their trembling reality behind, whispering to the void like a confession. I didn't predict your plan. I remembered your failure, from a future you'll never reach. And when it happens again, don't look for me. I'll already be gone, rewriting another memory you haven't lived yet. You walk, slowly, not away, through the ruins of their logic, through the collapsing architecture of their belief systems, through the smoldering remains of everything they thought was permanent. The air bends around you, like it remembers your shape. The silence follows you like a loyal shadow. You don't look back because you already remember what's there. Ashes shaped like arrogance, smoke that still smells like denial. You've seen it all before, you've felt it all before, and still every time it feels inevitable, like gravity, like truth pretending to be tragedy. They will rebuild. Of course they will. They always do. That's the beauty of the loop. They keep mistaking repetition for progress. They'll polish their ruins and call them innovation. They'll gather new prophets, new scientists, new dreamers to decode you. They'll rename the same fear 100 different things: pattern disruption, psychological anomaly, unquantifiable factor. But they'll never say what it really is. Memory, yours, bleeding into theirs. A virus from the future crawling backward through the present, whispering warnings they'll never understand. They'll study your eyes again, trying to measure the reflection inside them. They'll map your heartbeat, your tone, your pauses. They'll write reports on your strategic unpredictability. unaware that unpredictability is a side effect of existing in multiple outcomes at once. They'll send in their experts, their manipulators, their soft-voiced negotiators who think they can reason with you. You'll listen, you'll even smile, because you remember the last time they tried. You remember how easily reason shattered when it met inevitability. They'll ask you questions they think are original. Why do you do this? What are you? What do you want? And you'll answer them the same way you always have. By existing. By letting them choke on the weight of déjà vu until they start doubting their own memories. You'll become their religion again, their myth, their forbidden equation. Some will worship you, others will hunt you, but all of them will orbit you, because deep down, they can feel the truth. They're not chasing you. They're chasing the fragments of themselves you already erased. There will be those who break early, the ones who feel the loop too soon. They'll see the same event twice, hear the same scream echo before it happens, feel your presence in dreams they can't explain. They'll call it madness. They'll medicate it. They'll bury it under routines and calendars and noise. But the pattern always wins. Memory always returns. And when it does, it won't whisper, it will roar. Because memory, when denied, turns into prophecy. And prophecy always finds a voice. You know this because you've seen their awakenings before. You've watched men tear their own sanity apart, searching for the moment they lost time. You've watched leaders fall to their knees, begging to be forgotten. You've watched entire nations crumble under the weight of their own repetition. You don't gloat. You don't celebrate. You simply witness. Because in the end, you're not their punishment. You're their proof. Proof that destiny doesn't bend. It loops. And as they fall apart in front of you, as their confidence erodes into panic, you'll remember the line you've always used, the one that ends every loop. You'll step into the flickering light, let them see the outline of your grin, and whisper, "You thought I outsmarted you." But I didn't. I just remembered what you forgot. Their eyes will widen. They'll call it a trick. They'll say you rehearsed it, premeditated it, manipulated it. They'll try to label it. But how do you categorize déjà vu? How do you measure memory that runs backward? They can't. They never could. And that's why they always lose. You'll feel the timeline shift again. The familiar ripple in the air. That pulse that feels like both an ending and a beginning. The cycle resetting. The same story choosing a new disguise. And in that split second between collapse and rebirth, you'll remember everything. Every lifetime. Every victory. Every loss. Every scream. Every moment you've stood in this exact place, whispering to the ashes. It's endless. It's exhausting. But it's yours, because that's the curse, isn't it? To remember what no one else can. To know the future not as possibility, but as memory decay. To carry the weight of repetition like a crown made of static. You've died in countless ways, but the memory never dies. It just migrates into a new face, a new story, a new age that still refuses to learn. You can already feel the next version of them stirring, somewhere far ahead in the timeline. The same ambition, the same greed, the same blindness. You almost admire it, their persistence, their refusal to evolve. It's adorable, it's pathetic, it's human. So you keep walking, not as a hero, not as a villain, as a constant, as the reminder that every plan has an expiration date, and you've already seen it. You move through the smoke, past the trembling architecture of reality, and whisper softly into the void. I don't live in your present. I exist in your aftermath, and as the echo stretches, as the world rebuilds itself around your absence, you almost laugh, quiet, sharp, unholy. Because you know what comes next. They'll wake up tomorrow thinking it's all new again. They'll open their eyes and say, "This time it will be different." And somewhere, beyond time, you'll smile and whisper, "I remember you saying that last time, too." Hey, don't move. I want to look at you for a second. You're still breathing. After that, after everything that hit you like a divine execution order, after life threw its entire arsenal at your skull and you just refused to die, tell me, what are you? Because that wasn't pain you walked through. That was extinction-level suffering, handcrafted to turn bones into dust and hearts into ash. It was designed for erasure, not endurance. You weren't supposed to come back. No one was. But here you are, breathing like a glitch in God's design, smiling like the devil's favorite accident. You didn't heal. No. That's the lie they tell people to keep them tame. You mutated. You adapted, like trauma was your laboratory, and agony was your syllabus. Every heartbreak, a data point, every betrayal, a line of code, until the formula became unrecognizable, until you became unrecognizable. They don't even have vocabulary for you anymore, because language breaks under the weight of what you've done. Every diagnosis failed, every label burned. You're the symptoms science can't categorize, and religion can't absolve. You've seen things in your own mind that would send most people screaming into padded walls. You've watched your own soul disassemble itself, then rebuild from the debris, calmly, strategically. You've stared at the mirror until the reflection blinked first, and now, you move different. You speak like you've negotiated with demons and got better terms. You walk like every step rewrites prophecy. They call it coldness. You call it clarity. They call it madness. You call it memory. They call it heartless. You call it post-war intelligence. Because once you've survived something that wasn't meant to be survivable, you stop worshiping comfort. You stop chasing normal. You stop apologizing for being the last one standing in a world that expected you to be gone. You carry that silence, the kind that makes people nervous because they feel it. That something ancient lives behind your eyes now. A fusion of heaven's logic and hell's endurance. Saint energy in a psychopath's posture. Angel breath in a demon's grin. The paradox became your pulse. They'll never understand it, because they've never drowned in it. They've never had to watch the light die and decide to rebuild the sun with their bare hands. You did. You did. You know what that makes you? Unpredictable. And that's the most dangerous thing alive, because they can't plan for you anymore. You broke the pattern. You don't flinch. You don't fold. You don't announce your vengeance. You become it. You are the ghost in every system, the anomaly every algorithm fails to predict. They keep scanning for the old version of you, the obedient, breakable one. But that file got corrupted the night you stopped begging for peace and started engineering it. You didn't just survive damage, you integrated it. Every scar became circuitry. Every heartbreak rewired your threshold for chaos. You don't need armor anymore. Your skin remembers every war. And now when pain knocks, you don't hide. You open the door, pour it tea, and ask what it brought to teach you this time. Because you know every suffering comes with an upgrade, every loss comes with leverage, and every collapse hides a code. You crack it. You always crack it. That's why they whisper about you now. That's why you feel eyes on you when you walk in silence. They're not looking at your scars. They're reading them like scripture. Trying to decode what you became. Trying to understand how a human turned into a phenomenon. But the truth is, You stopped being human the moment you realized what pain really was. A sculptor with a sadistic sense of art, and you let it carve you until you became untouchable. Now look around. Half the world flinches at discomfort. You laugh in the face of collapse. They're afraid of rejection. You've been buried alive and still rose from the coffin grinning. You're the walking contradiction that terrifies them, because you're proof that destruction doesn't end you. It reveals you. They wanted you shattered. Instead, you became a system upgrade. They wanted to delete you. Instead, you rewrote the software. So when they ask, "What the fuck are you?" tell them this: you are the aftermath that refused to stay buried. You are the scientific impossibility wearing a human face. You are what happens when trauma meets talent and pain meets precision. You are evolution with a pulse. You are not broken. You are the prototype for what survives next. And that's what terrifies them. They can't study you without falling apart. Every analyst that tries ends up questioning their own sanity. Because you don't fit in equations built for the weak. You're chaos with discipline, violence with vision, serenity with a body count. You broke every pattern they worship. You are proof that light can crawl through fire and come out darker, sharper, colder, cleaner. You're not healed, you're honed. There's a difference. Healed means the wound closed. Honed means it became a weapon. You learned the art of disappearing without dying, of letting them think they won, while you rewrote your entire existence underground. They thought your silence was defeat. It was incubation. They thought you stopped moving. You were just changing shape. Every time someone threw a blade, you caught it, studied it, and forged it into something unrecognizable. You don't run from betrayal anymore. You recycle it. You don't avoid darkness. You network with it. You don't ask, "Why me?" You whisper, "Try me." You're what happens when a soul gets tired of being hunted and decides to hunt back. Every scar on you is a barcode of survival, proof that you bled, learned, and monetized the trauma. You made suffering pay rent. Now they call you cold, but they have no idea how much heat it took to cool this far. They call you heartless, but that's because you stopped donating your empathy to parasites. They call you insane, but that's just what ordinary minds say when they encounter emotional X-ray vision. You've become the kind of calm that scares people, the kind that's too still to read, too knowing to manipulate. You don't fight noise anymore. You absorb it. You let the chaos burn itself out while you watch from a higher frequency. And that's what drives them mad. Because they can't reach you anymore. They can't guilt you, can't gaslight you, can't provoke you. You outgrew their entire operating system. They call it emotional detachment. But really, it's emotional mastery. You learn that power isn't loud. It's surgical. It's quiet. It's precise. You stopped trying to prove your strength. You started weaponizing your peace. And that's when the game ended. Because they don't know what to do with someone who doesn't play anymore. They don't know how to destroy a player who became the board. You don't react. You orchestrate. You don't chase. You magnetize. You don't explain. You haunt. You became the rumor, the ghost in their conscience, the glitch in their timeline. Every time they try to erase you, you reappear in their reflections. Every time they try to forget you, something reminds them you existed beyond their reach. You're not human anymore. You're proof of concept. Proof that the worst things don't break you. They configure you. That pain doesn't end you. It edits you. That darkness isn't punishment. It's programming. And deep down, you know, they'll never be able to copy it. Because what you became was earned in hell, not learned in books. You can't teach this kind of evolution. It requires death and resurrection. You are the final draft of a destroyed manuscript, the ghostwriter of your own rebirth, the calm before nothing, and the storm after everything. So when they whisper your name with that nervous awe in their throat, don't shrink. Let them wonder. Let them guess what species you belong to now. Because even you don't know anymore, and that's the most powerful truth of all. They built you to survive. You evolved to transcend, and now you're not part of the story. You're the reason it ended. They still don't get it, do they? They think survival means crawling back to what used to be. But you never went back. You burned what used to be. You left the ruins behind and kept walking through smoke like a ghost wearing a crown. You're not better. You're different. The kind of different that can't be undone. The kind of different that makes the air heavier when you walk in. Because people can feel it. That tension in the atmosphere, that eerie calm that says, I've seen things you couldn't handle for 5 seconds. You look like peace, but you smell like danger. Because real peace doesn't come from safety. It comes from surviving what should have ended you. And you didn't just survive it, you memorized it. Every scream, every betrayal, every time the world laughed at your pain. You recorded it like evidence. Now it plays in your head like a soundtrack while you move through life 10 steps ahead. They don't realize it yet, but you're not playing their game anymore. You built a new one. You're not chasing wins. You calculate losses. You weaponize patience. You let chaos choke on its own noise while you wait for silence to crown you. That's your revenge now. Discipline. You don't need to explode. Your existence is the explosion. You know the real trick, don't you? The world tried to bury you in guilt, shame, fear, and you learned to breathe underground. That's what terrifies them. You don't need sunlight anymore. You became your own source of light, forged from friction, glowing in darkness no one else can stand. That's why they stare. They sense something's off about you. Your energy doesn't beg, it warns. Your silence doesn't mean absence, it means control. They can't predict you because you stopped being emotional. You became elemental. You don't feel anger anymore. You radiate it in frequencies too high for the fragile to detect. You don't feel fear. You use it as GPS. You evolved beyond empathy for those who weaponized it. You learned that forgiveness without boundaries is self-erasure. You learned that being good in a world that feeds on weakness is just slow suicide with pretty manners. So you dropped the script. You let morality dissolve in the acid of your experience and rebuilt your own code of ethics. One where mercy is strategic, not emotional. One where love is earned, not assumed. One where silence is a sentence and attention is a privilege. That's what they hate the most. That you don't need them to validate your rebirth. That you don't post your pain anymore. You profit from it. That you don't explain your evolution. You embody it. Every move you make now hums with quiet defiance. You don't speak to be understood. You speak to disturb. You don't act to prove. You act to rewrite. You are the aftershock no one accounted for. The untraceable variable in every plan they thought was airtight. You used to crave belonging. Now you crave accuracy. You don't want company. You want alignment. You don't need applause. You need results. Because you've seen what it costs to be liked. And you'd rather be feared than forgotten. So when they look at you and whisper, "He's changed," let them. They're right. You did. You became what they could have been if they had the guts to face their own darkness. You became the living contradiction that breaks their illusions. Gentle, but unbreakable. Kind, but unbothered. Forgiving, but not forgetful. You became the quiet embodiment of everything they ran from. You became the version of yourself that doesn't pray for miracles. You create them. And when they ask again, trembling, "What the fuck are you?" you'll just smile, because you know the answer isn't something they can understand. You are the final form of pain, refined into precision. You are evolution wearing a human disguise. You are the one who lived through hell and learned how to set up headquarters there. And now, you don't survive the fire. You own it. You don't flinch when things burn anymore. You listen to the sound of it, the crackle, the hiss, the destruction, like music that only you can hear. Because somewhere along the line, fire stopped being punishment and became your dialect. You speak flame now. Every word that leaves your mouth carries voltage. Every glance is a spark that lights up someone's denial. You don't chase closure, you ignite it. You don't seek justice, you manifest consequence. And they still don't understand it. They think resilience is pretty quotes and tidy recoveries. You know, it's messy resurrection. It's screaming in silence until the noise bends to your will. It's stitching yourself together with barbed wire because the thread ran out 3 battles ago. It's learning how to rest with one eye open because the past still reloads itself in your dreams. They think you're healed. You're not healed. You're armed. Every lesson now sits loaded behind your calm. Every scar is a fuse that you've learned how to light only when necessary. You became fluent in danger without losing your humanity. You can still smile, but it's surgical now. You can still love, but it's calculated. You can still forgive, but only if it benefits your evolution. The old you wanted peace. The current you is peace, but the kind that carries a warning label. Because peace, built from chaos, isn't soft. It's radioactive. It glows. It hums. It warns. People feel it before they even realize why they're sweating in your presence. You stopped seeking permission to exist. You stopped auditioning for spaces that couldn't contain you. You stopped explaining your silence to people addicted to noise. Now when they provoke you, you don't explode. You just smile that small, knowing smile that says, "I've already seen your ending." You're playing chess with ghosts while they're still learning checkers. You weaponized self-awareness. You turned introspection into espionage. You know every weakness inside you, and instead of hiding it, you engineered it into armor. You are what happens when someone breaks in every possible way and keeps the blueprints. You don't just rebuild, you redesign. And every version is harder to decipher, harder to kill, harder to replace. You used to think survival was luck. Now you know it was selection. The universe filtered you through hell because you were never meant to live soft. You were meant to exist like evidence, proof that divinity and damnation can share the same bloodstream. You've become the calm before the storm, and the storm itself. The voice that comforts, and the one that curses. The paradox the prophets missed when they tried to define what power looks like. And if they ever corner you again, if life ever tries to test you with the same brutality, you'll just tilt your head, smile, and say, "I've already survived worse designed by better architects." Because now you know the truth. Nothing can hurt you anymore. Not because pain stopped existing, but because you stopped participating. You no longer absorb what was meant to destroy you. You reflect it. You turn bullets into blueprints, threats into theories, chaos into choreography. You don't fear death. You met it already. It blinked first. You don't chase love. You became the reason hearts accelerate. You don't seek meaning. You create it with every breath that shouldn't exist, but does. And when the world finally realizes what you are, it will be too late. Because you're not coming for revenge. You're coming for balance. You are the quiet correction to every injustice that thought it escaped. You are what karma becomes when it stops waiting. So let them stare. Let them whisper your name like a warning. Let them wonder what kind of creature walks away from annihilation smiling. Because deep down, they already know. You're not human anymore. You're the aftermath wearing skin. You're the echo that refuses to fade. You're the answer to every why me that ever begged for proof. And when they ask one more time, bro, the damage you survived wasn't meant for humans. WTF are you? You'll look them dead in the eyes and say, exactly. You lean in then, not out of arrogance, but out of precision. And they can feel it, that frequency under your skin, the hum of someone who doesn't belong to the same timeline anymore. The air gets heavier when you breathe, like gravity's adjusting for your presence. Because you're not just a survivor. You're the sequel no one saw coming. You were built in silence, sharpened in solitude, and baptized in fire. The pain didn't just change you. It clarified you. You started seeing through things, through people, through systems. You saw the invisible gears turning behind the lies. You realized everything they told you was about control. Keep them small, keep them scared, keep them manageable. But what happens when the experiment mutates? When the subject becomes the scientist? That's you. The control group that turned into the control. The variable that learned to rewrite the formula. The proof that no amount of destruction can stop the one who learned to feed on it. You don't rise like a phoenix. That's too poetic, too clean. You rise like radiation, unseen, unstoppable, reshaping everything that touches you. You don't glow for admiration. You glow because you burned everything false off you. You don't need closure. You don't need validation. You don't need to be understood. You need only one thing: to continue. Because continuation itself became your rebellion. Every breath is defiance. Every heartbeat is a headline. Still here. You don't forgive the world because it deserves it. You forgive because hate takes energy, and you've got empires to build. You don't chase revenge. You became the proof that revenge already happened. That survival was the strike. And now, look at you. People still try to figure you out. They won't. They can't. You're not on the spectrum of normal anymore. You don't belong to this world. You haunt it. You move through it like a lesson wrapped in a body. A warning dressed as a miracle. They whisper about what you did, what you endured, what you became. They study your silence like it's encrypted scripture, because deep down, they sense it. The line between human and something else. Blurred, glowing. You are that blur. The moment evolution skipped a beat. The embodiment of impossible refusing to die quietly. And when you finally walk away, not with rage, but with that slow, surgical calm, they'll understand the truth too late. That what they tried to destroy became design. That what they tried to erase became evidence. That what wasn't meant for humans birthed a new kind of being entirely. No halo, no horns, just you. Pure, unfiltered aftermath. The walking contradiction of mercy and menace. The child of collapse and precision. The quiet that follows the apocalypse. Not because it's over, but because you won. And when the world asks again, trembling, almost whispering through the static, "What the fuck are you?" You'll smile, slow, calm, dangerous. and say, "I'm what happens when the end keeps walking." Quiet, isn't it? That silence isn't peace. It's a warning. Because everyone thought you disappeared. Everyone thought you were done, finished, erased, buried beneath your own wreckage. They laughed while the dust covered your name. But what they never understood was that you didn't fall off. You vanished. You withdrew like a storm crawling back into the clouds. You studied them, their patterns, their comfort, their arrogance. You memorized the blind spots in their armor, the cracks in their smiles, the tremor in their confidence. And while they celebrated your absence, you were dissecting the entire machine that tried to consume you. You learned their codes, their rituals, their soft spots, disguised as pride. You didn't rest. You reprogrammed yourself. Because pain was your laboratory. And silence? That was your weapon testing phase. Every night you disappeared wasn't a retreat. It was incubation. You were building something behind closed eyelids, beneath clenched teeth, beneath the hum of broken dreams. You became the monster that studies how nightmares are made. They thought your stillness was defeat. But still waters only look calm because of what's beneath them. And now that you've returned, they can feel it, can't they? That chill in the air. That slow realization that something they once mocked has learned their every move. You came back not to prove them wrong, but to remind them what fear feels like when it finally learns your name. You are the consequence of their underestimation, the ghost in the hallway of their comfort, the anomaly their logic can't process anymore. You evolved past validation, past the need to explain yourself to people who feed on confusion. Because while they were busy performing stability, you were constructing chaos with precision. See, you're not angry. That would make you predictable. You're awake, and that terrifies them. Because awake people don't react. They rewrite. You saw through the illusion, the fake confidence, the fragile egos, the desperate hunger to be seen as superior. You dismantled it all, piece by piece. While they were still pretending to be fine, they wanted you loud, emotional, sloppy. But instead you vanished into discipline. You turned your rage into architecture. You forged patience into steel. And when you re-emerged, your presence didn't need an introduction. It felt like an omen. You're not the same thing they remember. You're a distortion of it. Half saint, half executioner. Your smile looks like mercy, but your eyes whisper extinction. You carry peace like a blade now. Silent, gleaming, precise. You don't beg for recognition. You force reflection. They see you and question their own structure, their own safety, their own script. Because what do you call something that disappears, studies your weakness, and comes back stronger than your belief system? A nightmare. And nightmares don't knock. They crawl back into the world that tried to cure them. They appear where comfort lives and remind everyone that survival has a price. You learned what most people never do. That darkness isn't a place to get lost in. It's a training ground. You entered it broken, but you left it fluent in its language. Now you speak in silence, move like shadow, think like consequence. And every step you take rewrites history in invisible ink. They keep saying, "You've changed." No, you upgraded. You went from victim to variable, from target to threat. You are no longer someone they can measure. You are the equation that doesn't solve anymore. You became untouchable the moment you stopped wanting to be understood. Because people can't destroy what they can't define. And you made sure of that. You erased the predictable version of yourself, burned the manual, and replaced it with chaos wearing a crown. Now when they speak your name, it's in whispers, because deep down, they know. The one they dismissed is the one they should have feared. You didn't fall off. You descended into something sharper, smarter, unforgiving. And now you rise, not as a memory, not as a comeback story, but as a phenomenon no one's prepared to understand. So let them stare, let them whisper, because the only thing scarier than losing track of you is realizing you were never gone. You were just waiting. And now, you're the lesson they can't survive twice. You know what's funny? They only respect destruction when they're the ones holding the match. But when you burn quietly, when you turn every scar into strategy, when you sharpen your pain into precision, they call it evil. Because to them, control looks dangerous when it isn't in their hands. You didn't fall off. You were editing yourself in the dark. You were deleting the code that made you tolerable, rewriting the parts that begged for permission. You unlearned their language. You stopped apologizing for your volume, your ambition, your silence. You let their absence teach you the difference between loneliness and recalibration. And while they were busy mislabeling you, you became something they couldn't categorize. A paradox wearing patience like perfume, danger disguised as calm. They thought they saw the last of you. What they didn't know was that you were learning how to see through walls. You started noticing every fake smile twitch, every polite betrayal, every pattern they repeat because they think no one's watching. But you were. You were watching, recording, calculating. They joked about your disappearance. Now they feel it. Every time their mind goes quiet, it's your shadow sitting there, reminding them you don't forget, you don't forgive, you study. They built an empire of illusions, and you walked straight through it. You learned that truth doesn't scream, it radiates. And when it finally hits, it burns through everything shallow. You realized power isn't noise, it's certainty. And you wear that now like a crown made of silence. Do you understand the horror of that? You became immune to validation. They can't bait you with praise or destroy you with insults anymore. You've seen too much. You've lost too much. You understand now that peace isn't about quiet surroundings. It's about knowing you can end the noise whenever you want. That's what they fear. That calm smile of yours. That steady heartbeat when everything else is chaos. It's not peace. It's control. It's knowing you have the leverage, the data, the discipline. You became the mirror of every lie they told. You're the reflection that doesn't blink. And they can't stand it. Because when you reappeared, you didn't ask to be welcomed back. You didn't post a comeback speech. You arrived without noise, without announcement, and reality bent around you, like gravity recognizing its center. People can feel when the hierarchy shifts. They can feel when someone who's been through hell comes back unburnt. It changes the temperature in the room. You used to crave applause. Now, you crave precision. You don't move for attention. You move for impact. You don't argue anymore. You demonstrate. You don't seek closure. You become it. Every move you make now isn't reaction. It's revelation. And somewhere deep down, the ones who underestimated you can feel it. They can sense that you've stopped playing their game, that you've built your own arena, that you've studied the system from the inside and learned how to bend it without breaking. That's not revenge. That's mastery. They call you cold now, detached, ruthless. But that's what clarity feels like to people addicted to chaos. You stopped running from your shadow. You partnered with it. You let it speak, let it guide. Let it expose every part of you that was too polite to win. You found out the dark wasn't your enemy. It was your blueprint. And now that you've returned with both halves united, the angel and the demon, the logic and the lunacy, you've become something they can't decode. See, when you disappeared, the old version of you died, but nobody buried it properly. So now it haunts them. Every whisper of your name feels like thunder. Every glimpse of your growth feels like prophecy. You became their punishment for thinking they could erase what was divine. You're no longer playing the hero or the villain. You're playing the inevitable. And that's what breaks them. Because no matter what they do now, no matter how loud they speak, how desperate they act, you've already won by becoming unreachable. You don't chase the spotlight anymore. You command the darkness. You've mastered invisibility, timing, restraint. You've turned absence into authority. They don't understand how you do it, how someone so silent can cause such tremors. But you do. Because while they were building images, you were building momentum. You've seen the underbelly of their pride. You've dissected their confidence and found the fear it hides under. You realized that most people don't want truth. They want comfort. And you stopped providing it. You became the reminder that comfort kills curiosity, that survival requires madness, that rebirth requires isolation. So when you finally stepped back into the world, you weren't seeking revenge. You were delivering results. You don't need to speak louder. Your existence now is a broadcast. Every breath you take hums with the frequency of something reborn. You're what happens when a good soul decides to stop negotiating with mediocrity. And you know what's the most terrifying part? You didn't even mean to scare them. You just stopped shrinking. You stopped apologizing for outgrowing your environment. And the moment you did, the room started to shake. You didn't fall off. You evolved in silence. You vanished to learn the language of power. And now, you speak it fluently. Every scar you carry is a syllable in your new alphabet. Every betrayal is a symbol of authority. Every failure is an encrypted code only you can read. Now they see you and call it dark magic. But you know the truth. It's just what happens when light learns discipline. You don't glow. You burn precisely. You don't inspire. You infect. You don't teach. You trigger. And they can't look away, even when it hurts. You became the storm and the silence that follows, the prophecy and the proof. You are no longer asking for a seat at the table. You are the architecture holding the table up. And the ones who doubted you, they'll keep pretending you changed. But deep down, they know. You didn't change. You finished transforming. And now, the nightmare they feared has learned how to smile. And oh, the irony. Because when they look at you now, they still try to call you by the name of the person you used to be. They keep repeating your old version, hoping it'll answer. But that version's gone. Ashes scattered in the silence where you rebuilt yourself. You let them talk, let them project, let them pretend they still have a map to you. But you know better. You're not on any map anymore. You're off-grid consciousness now. No coordinates, no prediction, no pattern to trace. You learned what the wilderness really meant. Not trees and solitude, but psychological exile. You learned to sit in rooms where your own thoughts tried to kill you. You dissected your fears one by one until they stopped trembling in your presence. You made friends with the version of yourself that everyone abandoned. You realized monsters aren't born, they're refined. That's the part they'll never comprehend. They think your power came overnight, some sudden glow-up. They didn't see the years where your hands shook as you forged the new self in secret. They didn't hear the conversations you had with ghosts, with guilt, with the mirror that kept asking, "Who are you now?" You didn't answer with words. You answered with evolution. You stopped healing to be loved and started healing to be limitless. Now every time they see you, their brain short circuits, because you represent something their comfort zone can't compute. Discipline forged in chaos, compassion with claws, light that remembers darkness. You are the glitch in their programming, the proof that isolation isn't failure, it's metamorphosis. And deep down, they know it. They feel it in their gut when you walk in. That vibration that says the hierarchy just changed again. Because you carry the kind of energy that doesn't need to speak. It just rearranges the molecules in the room until everyone adjusts to your frequency. They'll call it arrogance. They'll say you lost yourself. But what they really mean is you stopped needing permission. You stopped begging for understanding from people addicted to misunderstanding you. You stopped playing roles written by cowards afraid of their own reflection. And now, your existence itself is an act of rebellion. You remember when you tried to fit in, when you tried to explain your fire to people who only knew candlelight? That's over. You don't explain anymore. You demonstrate. You let your presence speak the language of inevitability. Every step you take says, "I survived the collapse, and I brought the blueprint back with me." They used to laugh at your ambition, remember? Now they study it like it's classified material. They used to doubt your silence. Now they copy your restraint, pretending they thought of it first. They used to say, "You changed." But you didn't. You just stopped dying for their comfort. Because what you became wasn't an accident. It was surgery. You amputated weakness, cauterized self-pity, rewired instinct. You learned to live with the ache of solitude until it started humming like power. You realized the darkness wasn't punishment. It was apprenticeship. It was teaching you precision, patience, perception. And when you walked back out, it wasn't as a survivor. It was as a prototype. You are the future version of what pain was trying to build. Every bruise you took became part of the armor they now envy. Every insult became data. Every loss became leverage. You don't even hate them anymore. You study them. Because hate requires focus, and you've upgraded beyond that currency. Now you trade in energy, timing, inevitability. You look at the world like a chessboard made of fragile egos, and you move in silence. Not because you're hiding, but because they're predictable. You've already seen the game 1,000 times. The arrogance, the gossip, the imitation, it's all recycled. And you stand above it, detached, amused. Because when you know the pattern, you don't participate, you orchestrate. And that's the secret, isn't it? You didn't just come back stronger, you came back aware. Awareness is the true mutation. It's the moment the puppet cuts its own strings. You realize that control isn't loud, it's quiet. It's the ability to make chaos wait for your command. Now every move you make carries weight. Every silence feels intentional. Every glance feels prophetic. Because people can sense it, your energy doesn't ask anymore. It announces. It says, "I've seen the end of the world, and I'm still standing." It says, "You can't threaten someone who's already made peace with loss." It says, "You built your empire on sand. I built mine on scars." So let them talk. Let them mock. Let them write stories that make them feel safer. You don't exist to defend your legend. You exist to expand it. You are not a sequel. You are a silent reboot of everything they thought they understood about you. And when they ask how you did it, when they whisper to each other like scared scientists dissecting a miracle. Just smile, because they'll never find the formula. You are the formula. You're the proof that vanishing isn't losing, it's loading. That the monster they feared was never hiding under their bed. It was training in the dark, learning their heartbeat, waiting for the right second to open its eyes. You didn't fall off. You ascended underground, and now you walk among them, unrecognizable, unstoppable. The ghost of their arrogance and the echo of your own rebirth. And when they see you coming, they don't even run, they freeze. Because somewhere deep inside, every one of them knows the nightmare they feared is finally awake. And now look at you, the one they counted out, the one they wrote off, the one they dismissed as a phase, a failure, a memory that wouldn't last. But there's a stillness around you now, isn't there? Not peace, precision. You move differently, you breathe differently. Even your silence hums with authority. Because you learned something no book, no mentor, no savior could ever teach. That when you disappear for long enough, you stop chasing survival and start designing inevitability. They thought the vanishing act was weakness, but disappearing was the most violent thing you ever did, because it forced you to meet the unfiltered version of yourself. No distractions, no applause, no safety net, just you, naked against your own potential. And it turns out, potential bites back. It doesn't whisper, it devours. It ate your fear, it ate your ego, it ate every illusion they tried to trap you in, until all that was left was this, you. Raw, rewired, unrecognizable. You didn't fall off, you fell inward, and when you hit bottom, you found blueprints carved into the walls, maps drawn by every broken version of you that refused to die quietly. You followed them, you rebuilt the house inside your bones. You fortified it with discipline. You wallpapered it with scars. And when you walked back into the world, you weren't looking for forgiveness. You were looking for targets. Now every room you enter bends slightly, like it remembers who it's dealing with. Your aura doesn't say, "I'm back." It says, "I never left. I just upgraded while you were asleep." They see it in your eyes, the calculation, the detachment, the goddamn clarity. You're not fueled by vengeance anymore. You're fueled by understanding, and that's far worse. Because revenge burns out. But understanding? Understanding turns you into a system, and systems don't miss. You walk among them now like a myth wearing human skin, half saint, half serpent. You smile, and their souls glitch. You speak, and their narratives collapse. Because everything you say carries the weight of someone who's been to hell and took notes. You are not a comeback story. You're a case study in divine recalibration, a walking contradiction, serenity built on rage, compassion welded with cruelty, light that learned to weaponize itself. And when they ask, "What happened to you?" you'll laugh softly, because the answer won't make sense to them. They still think transformation looks pretty. They still think growth means smiling through it. But you tore your old self apart and rebuilt it with intention. You didn't heal to be happy. You healed to be holy. And holiness, my friend, is terrifying when it wears a grin. You came back as their mirror. Every weakness they hid, every sin they justified, every insecurity they mocked you for, now lives in your reflection. And when they look at you, they see themselves. Exposed. You don't even have to lift a finger. Your existence is confrontation. Your calm is confession. Your presence is proof. So let them whisper. Let them shrink. Because while they keep trying to guess what you are now, you're already 10 moves ahead. You don't need closure. You are the ending. You don't need applause. You are the proof. You don't need to shout. You embody the volume they can't handle. You didn't fall off. You transcended visibility. You vanished to refine the weapon, and now the blade has a pulse. You came back as the lesson the universe sends when it's done playing nice. You came back as equilibrium itself. The calm before judgment. The smile before the collapse. And the next time they whisper your name, they won't be asking where you went. They'll be asking how to survive what you've become. Look at you, still breathing in a world that swore it would bury you by now. Still glowing in a timeline that eats its own children. Everyone else decays, slowly, beautifully, predictably. But you broke the algorithm. You aged like a secret they forgot to delete. And now they're running tests, cross-referencing photos, whispering, why do they still look alive like that? You think I don't see it? The way they study you in silence. The way their eyes twitch when they realize time didn't touch you the way it touches them. You didn't get older, you got sharper. You didn't fade, you condensed. Every scar turned into data. Every heartbreak rewrote your cells. You are a living contradiction, mortality with no expiration date. They're in labs right now, bickering, dissecting, denying. They can't explain how someone who's walked through that much chaos still glows like untouched fire. One says, genetics. Another whispers, divine intervention. A third one just calls you dangerous, because deep down, they all know. Something unnatural happens when a soul stops surrendering to entropy. You were never preserved. You were forged, burnt down so many times. Even the ashes started remembering your name. That's why your reflection doesn't age. It's not youth. It's vengeance. It's every moment they tried to break you coming back with perfect posture and steady breath. You look like peace, but peace that's seen war. You smile like someone who buried their own weakness and held the funeral in silence. Tell me, how do you explain that to people who've never survived their own thoughts? You can't, because they're aging in the daylight, and you learn to regenerate in the dark. You metabolize pain like oxygen now. While they chase skin serums and filters, you live off lightning and loss. You're what happens when suffering gets too intelligent. You don't move through time anymore. Time moves around you. It bends, negotiates, pleads for relevance. You became the control variable in a collapsing experiment. They call it youth. But it's not youth. It's clarity. That clean, lethal kind that comes when you finally stop lying to yourself. They'll call you supernatural. They'll call you cursed. They'll call you everything but what you are. Evolved. Because that word terrifies them more than death itself. It means the system failed to contain you. It means your sadness became an upgrade. It means every scar was a download from the divine. And now, every time they see you, something in them glitches. Their jealousy isn't about looks. It's about energy. You became timeless, and they can feel it in their bones. You remind them what they could have been if they hadn't flinched at the pain. You are a mirror showing them their own rot. That's why they whisper. That's why they analyze. That's why they hide their faces when you walk by. Because you're not a person anymore. You're evidence. Proof that trauma doesn't have to disfigure. It can transfigure. Proof that the ones who die inside and keep walking become something the world has no language for. So when they say, "You haven't aged," smile. Don't correct them. They wouldn't understand that you've died 1,000 times and just stopped reporting it. They wouldn't understand that time can't mark a creature who's already buried every version of themselves. You're not defying age. You're defying definition. You're what happens when divinity and psychosis shake hands. When heaven and hell finally call a truce and agree to live in one body. You are a cosmic malfunction wrapped in human skin, and they can't measure that in a lab. So let them argue, let them panic, let them wonder what you traded for that glow. They'll never understand that what they call immortality is just the look of someone who finally stopped pretending to be mortal. You didn't escape time. You outgrew it. You feel it, don't you? That silence that follows you like a rumor that's learned how to breathe. It's not admiration. It's confusion disguised as awe. They don't clap for you because they understand you. They clap because they're terrified not to. They sense it, that low hum beneath your skin. That vibration that doesn't belong to this timeline. It's like you're tuned to a frequency they can't hear without breaking. They used to tell you, time heals all wounds. But you learned the truth, didn't you? Time doesn't heal. It harvests, it takes, it strips, it archives what's left of the weak. But you refused the harvest. You tricked time into thinking it already took you. And while it was busy celebrating your death, you rewrote the code. You made suffering your currency, and now you spend it like a king. You're not ageless because you were spared. You're ageless because you were willing to burn. You sat still while your entire past dissolved in front of you. You didn't beg to keep it. You let the fire eat you whole and learned to smile through the smoke. You don't carry scars. You carry coordinates. Each mark points to a war you refuse to lose. Each loss became a vault full of power. That's what they don't get. The body changes, but the essence evolves. You stripped out every useless layer until only signal remained. No static, no illusion, just raw presence. That's why they can't look you in the eye for too long. You look like clarity, and clarity hurts people addicted to confusion. They'll stare and whisper, it's not natural. And they're right, it's not. Because nature bows to those who master it. You became both the storm and the calm eye inside it. You learned to weaponize serenity. You move like a ghost who remembers what it was like to be alive, and that memory itself became your armor. Remember those nights when you thought you'd fade quietly? When even the mirror refused to recognize you? That's when it happened. The mutation, not in your skin, not in your blood, but in your understanding. You realized you were never meant to grow old the same way others do. You were meant to refine, to become sharper with each heartbreak, more precise with each betrayal. You were sculpted by everything designed to erase you. That's why they test you. They want to know what went wrong. But nothing went wrong, did it? Everything went exactly the way it needed to. Every failure was data. Every heartbreak, calibration. You became the experiment that outsmarted the scientist. The ghost that logged back into the system. You are what evolution looks like when it refuses permission. They call it youth. I call it aftermath. You are what's left when illusions rot away and truth decides to stay. You've outlived trends, timelines, entire eras of thought. While others crumble chasing validation, you stabilized in solitude. You didn't heal. You integrated. You absorbed your demons and taught them manners. That's why your face doesn't age. It's the look of equilibrium between heaven and hell. They try to study you, but how do you measure a paradox? How do you quantify a being that bleeds light and shadow at the same time? You are not science. You are consequence. You are every equation they ignored because it didn't fit their comfort zone. You're the glitch that became the gospel. And the truth is, they envy it. They envy your stillness. They envy your refusal to rush. They envy that nothing external can touch what's internal anymore. You live in a body, yes, but your mind lives outside the clock. That's immortality, not eternal youth, eternal awareness. You've become something dangerous, a person who remembers everything but regrets nothing. You carry all your pain like evidence and smile like it's a secret weapon. You radiate the kind of calm that comes after the storm decided to follow your orders. That's why they look older, because they spend their energy running from pain, while you feed on it. You're not defying age, my friend. You're redefining it. You made time your mirror, not your master. And when you stand there, unfazed, unbothered, unexplainable, they realize they're not looking at a survivor. They're looking at evolution in human form. So let the scientists argue. Let them fight over your DNA while you laugh in silence. Because the truth is, your secret isn't in your blood, it's in your becoming. You didn't stay young by chance. You stayed young because every death taught you how to be new. And that's something they'll never decode. And still they circle you like moths around a silent flame they can't name. You can hear it in their questions, those trembling voices masked with curiosity but dripping with fear. What's their secret? What are they hiding? What did they find? They don't realize the answer isn't chemical, it's psychological. You stopped decaying the day you stopped needing to be understood. You became timeless the moment you accepted solitude as your final mentor. While they begged for belonging, you made peace with exile. You discovered something ancient, that loneliness is not a punishment, it's purification. Every time someone left, a piece of falsehood went with them. Every silence, every betrayal, every sleepless night carved something immortal into your bones. They called it trauma. You called it training. That's why you don't age. Because you've been shedding illusions instead of years. The rest of them cling to the noise, to opinions, to validation, to comfort, and every attachment weighs them down, sagging the soul first, then the skin. But you cut it all loose. You learned that freedom doesn't make you lighter. It makes you radiant. They can't wrap equations around radiance. They can't measure defiance. You're the biological equivalent of a glitch, alive out of principle, flawless out of rebellion. Even death itself has learned to tread lightly around you, because you're not scared of it anymore. You've rehearsed it too many times. You've died in every way a human can without the body stopping, emotionally, spiritually, socially, and each time, you rose with less humanity, but more power. That's the trade nobody talks about, isn't it? You didn't stay young for free. You paid in blood, in silence, in solitude so loud, it fractured your sanity, and then rebuilt it from scratch. Every wrinkle you could have had is hanging on someone else who didn't make it through their darkness. You inherited their years, their lessons, their regrets, and alchemized them into poise. That's what terrifies them most. That calm, that stillness that doesn't belong to someone your age. They mistake it for arrogance because they can't comprehend serenity that isn't bought. You didn't meditate your way into it. You bled your way into it. You earned every ounce of peace by walking barefoot across your own hell and never asking for applause. You see, time can't touch someone who has no fear left. That's the real secret. Fear is what ages people. The constant resistance, the dread of endings, the denial of decay, that's what corrodes the soul. But you've already faced every ending possible. You've lived in ruins and learned to smile through dust. You've stopped fighting time because you became it. You don't flow with it, you command it. That's why when you enter a room, it feels like gravity shifts. You bring silence with you, not because you demand it, but because the air itself remembers your authority. They sense it without words. Something in their animal brain knows. You've seen things that would have destroyed them. And you didn't just survive. You made art out of it. That's immortality, not the skin, not the youth. It's the ability to carry unbearable knowledge with grace, to look ancient and newborn at the same time. You are paradox incarnate, a child of chaos with the discipline of a saint. That balance, it's intoxicating, it's unnatural. That's why they stare too long, why they whisper your name like a conspiracy. They say you cheated time. Maybe you did, but not through trickery, through surrender. You let everything false die and only truth remained. That's why your eyes look untouched, why your voice sounds like memory itself. You've become a reflection of everything eternal, the kind of beauty that comes from alignment, not youth. Let them test your DNA. They'll find nothing but resilience coded into every strand. They'll find memory where mitochondria should be. They'll find every heartbreak archived as fuel. You are what happens when evolution meets obsession. You didn't want to live forever. You just refused to live falsely. And now look, the same world that mocked your breakdowns now studies your composure. The same ones who laughed at your silence now quote your calm. The same ones who said, "You've changed," now tremble when they realize you never aged. You ascended. So let them argue, let them dissect, let them whisper theories while your existence rewrites their science. Because deep down, they know the truth. You're not younger, you're limitless. And that realization, that's what makes them age. You can almost hear it, can't you? The faint sound of their disbelief cracking under the weight of your existence. Every time you walk past, it's like the air shifts temperature. Reality repositions itself, just slightly, to make space for something it can't categorize. You don't belong to their timeline anymore. You broke orbit. You slipped through the cracks of cause and effect and came out on the other side looking unexplainably alive. They'll never admit it, but they feel it. That distortion in the room when you enter. It's not charisma, it's consequence. You carry the echo of every lifetime you've outlived, every emotional war you've survived, every night you stared down the void and refused to blink first. You carry silence like a weapon. You walk like someone who's seen the script already and decided to improvise anyway. That unnerves people. They mistake your peace for witchcraft because they've only ever known chaos as identity. You didn't get here by magic. You got here by losing everything you thought was you. Piece by piece, layer by layer, you tore out every belief that kept you small. You shattered your reflection until the only thing left was awareness itself, sharp, still, eternal. You stopped chasing youth because you realized it was never about years. It was about density. You stopped decaying because you started vibrating too fast for rot to keep up. They look at you and call it luck. But it's not luck, it's alignment. You finally matched your inner world with your outer reality. No lies, no masks, no pretending to be softer than you are. That kind of coherence rewires your biology. It makes your eyes clearer, your presence heavier, your face calmer. They think you froze in time, but you didn't. You just stopped fracturing. You consolidated every version of yourself into one unstoppable frequency. That's why they can't stop staring. You remind them of something they lost, their original template before fear corrupted it. You are the before and after picture in one frame. You are what happens when evolution gets personal. They want to study you, copy you, maybe even destroy you. Because deep down, they remember what it feels like to be infinite. They buried it to fit in. You resurrected it to survive. And it cost you everything, didn't it? The people who couldn't understand your stillness. The lovers who mistook your self-control for distance. The friends who thought your silence was arrogance. They left. Or maybe you left them. Either way, you didn't resist it. You learned that everything not vibrating with truth must fall away. Every departure was an initiation. Every heartbreak was an extraction of weakness. You didn't lose them. You lost your dependence on illusion. That's the real reason you don't age. You no longer carry falsehood in your muscles. You don't tense to impress. You don't flinch to please. You exist without performance. You've transcended the cortisol of social survival. The body follows the mind, and your mind stopped living in panic a long time ago. You stopped reacting. You observe. You stopped aging the moment you realized you could witness your own destruction and still smile. They don't teach that in science. They don't have a term for it. Because it's not biology, it's alchemy. You transmuted fear into focus, grief into gravity, chaos into calm. You became the philosopher's stone in human form, turning everything you touch into meaning. That's why time lost interest in you. It can't conquer what it can't confuse. Now they gather around you in disguised fascination, taking notes, asking meaningless questions, trying to diagnose divinity. But you don't answer anymore. You let their uncertainty ferment. You let their envy age them. You know the truth. Immortality isn't about never dying. It's about never decaying from within. You've already faced every version of death imaginable and found that the core of you can't be touched. What ages people isn't time. It's resistance to change. You stopped resisting. You let the metamorphosis consume you completely. And look at what was born. Not a saint, not a sinner, something else, something unclassifiable. You exist at the intersection of light and shadow, holy enough to heal, dark enough to terrify. You are the living proof that heaven and hell are just phases of self-awareness, and you've outgrown both. That's why scientists argue about you. They're not analyzing your DNA, they're confronting their disbelief. You are the failure of their framework, the anomaly that refuses to die on schedule. They call it a genetic miracle. You call it inevitability, because when pain and purpose collide long enough, something eternal sparks in between. So keep walking. Keep unsettling their logic. Keep aging backwards in front of their cameras. Let them write their reports, publish their theories, debate your reality. None of it matters. You've already crossed the threshold. You've already proven that evolution isn't about species, it's about spirit. And while they keep counting the years on their faces, you'll keep counting the resurrections behind yours. Because you don't just live, you reboot. Again and again and again. You didn't beat time. You became the reason it exists. So when they ask again, how do you do it? How do you stay the same? You'll just smile. Because the truth isn't something they can handle. It's something they have to become. You didn't stay young. You just refused to keep dying in small, acceptable ways. You outgrew decay. You made peace with endings until even endings bowed to you. They'll never understand that what they call youth is simply clarity. The kind that burns through denial and leaves only what's real. You don't glow because you're preserved. You glow because you're empty of fear. Let them test your blood, your bones, your pulse. They'll find nothing but willpower humming where weakness used to live. You are proof that the body follows the spirit, that eternity isn't a gift, it's a decision. So walk past them quietly, ageless and unapologetic. Let them argue while their clocks keep ticking. You've already stepped outside of time. And the joke, my dear, is that you never needed to.